I call the honourable member for Durack.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. When reading the Opposition's MPI today, one expression sprung to mind: pot calling kettle black, especially when we've heard the detail by the Minister for the Environment in this debate today about how Labor paid more than $30 billion to some of Australia's big polluters. Deputy Speaker, in contrast, the Coalition made a comprehensive range of commitments to the Australians at the last election, and we're delivering. We said we'd get rid of the carbon tax, and we've kept our promise. Together with those opposite, we all want to protect, preserve and sustain the environment for Australians now and for future Australians. At least we have that in common. Those opposite introduced a carbon tax, and if their intention was to reduce CO2 emissions, then it has been an abysmal failure. The carbon tax achieved less than 1% decrease in emissions. But it did achieve some things. What it did achieve was push up the cost of living for Australian families and made it even harder to do business in Australia. So whilst those opposites' intentions were perhaps admirable, their execution was abominable. Well, why is that? Well, one, we know it was an unpopular tax. Two, it was championed by a very unpopular Prime Minister. And three, the plan didn't work. The modelling was flawed. Deputy Speaker, here are some tips now for Labor. Number one, learn to listen. Check the credentials of your leader. And number three, most importantly, do your homework before announcing someone else's light bulb idea. Yet again, we on this side are fixing the problem. Like everything else we've inherited, otherwise known as Labor's appalling legacy, we are fixing it. The Australian people wanted to get rid of the carbon tax. We got rid of it, and we have delivered on our promise. Deputy Speaker, and if the other side get a chance, we all know they'll bring back the carbon tax again. The Australian people wanted lower electricity prices, which soared under Labor. We lowered them. Again, we delivered. We promised the Australian people an emissions reduction fund, which would lead to real actions, direct actions to reduce emissions. Again, we deliver. Deputy Speaker, but we are doing it in a way that is not pulling the rug out from under Australian businesses and families. With the help of those who can work collaboratively, we shall protect existing projects and we will proceed sensitively. Deputy Speaker, we will continue our record of progress and delivering on promises and working with the crossbenchers for mutual gain and to build a stronger Australia. We on this side have our eye on the ball, on the ultimate outcome. That's what it's all about. Those opposite are stuck in the swamp and need to lift their heads above the waterline. The carbon tax is gone, and direct action will help Australia to achieve the bipartisan 5% cut to 2000 level emissions by 2020. Our government has worked hard and has agreed to make amendments to the Carbon Farming Initiative Act 2014 to provide greater oversight to the Emissions Reduction Assurance Committee, withdraw the Climate Change Authority Abolition Bill, and will also fund the authority to review emissions trading schemes in 5 of Australia's key trading partners. But let's remember, that's just a review. It's not a commitment at this point. Our side has demonstrated we can work with anyone, big business, small business, anyone, so long as we keep the big picture in sight, and that's exactly what we're doing. It's a shame the Labor Party has dealt themselves out of participating in these important negotiations. But we are not distracted and we are not wavering. So, Deputy Speaker, those opposite can rant and rave, but it falls on deaf ears. We've delivered on our promises. We know the importance of working collaboratively. We've demonstrated that. We have a proven track record. We keep our eye on the ball, on the main game, and we will not be distracted. Deputy Speaker, it's worth repeating. We all want to protect, preserve and sustain the environment. We've now got rid of Labor's carbon tax. However, we have the emission target to achieve, not overnight, and we are working towards this carefully, sensitively and in collaboration with others and guided by a policy which is costed and capped.